What's going on, you guys? So I'm reacting a little bit late to one of the latest topics in the sport of boxing, and that's Devin Haney putting on more stricter drug testing come November for his bout with Brian Norman Jr., right? Now, originally, both of these guys, they signed and agreed to 8 weeks VADA, right? But recently, we've seen Bill Haney, do his little media tour around all the little YouTube channels that he pays to, praise Devin Haney. We've seen him go on there and say, oh, Brian Norman Jr., he didn't want to agree to 16 weeks of VADA testing because he's hiding something, blah, blah, blah. In reality, Brian Norman Jr., he agreed to that, pretty much immediately, but everyone in the media is making a big deal out of this whole thing, and honestly, it makes Devin Haney look weak in my eyes, right? You agreed to 8 weeks, but then you want to put, another clause in there after the fight has already signed, everything's ready to go, and you want to throw another 8 weeks on there for what reason? If you really think Brian Norman Jr. is juicing, then you should have said something before, the contracts were signed. Because what you pretty much did was sign a contract, right? And it could be perceived as a way out. If he didn't agree to the 16 weeks, what would have happened, right? Would he have not signed, or would he have pulled out of the fight? Potentially, right? But the media probably would have turned it into, oh, Brian Norman Jr., he didn't want to agree to testing because he's hiding something. We haven't suspected Brian Norman Jr. of being a steroid user throughout his whole entire career. The only reason it's a conversation now is because Devin Haney got beat up by Ryan Garcia and he was on PEDs. Before that, we never heard anything about Brian Norman Jr. being a potential steroid user, right? A cheater. But Devin Haney is still battling the demons of Ryan Garcia and what he did to him that night. All right, the whole stock of Devin Haney has dropped considerably. After the Garcia performance, after the lawsuit, and then after his last performance with Jose Ramirez, it was a snooze fest. It was a boring fight. You got to give him kudos for stepping in the ring with Brian Norman Jr., but his stock has dropped a lot, if we're going to be honest, right? And part of the reason, I wanted to get on here and talk about this is just because I've seen so many YouTube channels go out of their way and post a video, saying, why do people hate Bill, or why do people hate Devin Haney so much? Like, he's the most hated fighter. Everyone needs to be nice to Devin Haney. Part of the reason Devin Haney isn't liked among boxing fans is because his daddy just needs to shut his mouth. And I talked a little bit about this, in one of my past videos about Jose Benavidez Sr., right? There's something to these father-son relationships, right? To where the dads think they're the fighters. Bill Haney, no different. These guys talk real tough on the internet and are really disrespectful to other fighters, right? But they're not the ones fighting. Bill Haney ain't never put on a pair of boxing gloves. He's never stepped in the ring and fought anybody. So, in my opinion, he just needs to shut his mouth. And maybe his son, wouldn't get hated on so much if he didn't shut his mouth. If he did shut his mouth. Right? And the whole lawsuit didn't help him. Honestly, you talk about yourself as if you're the boogeyman of boxing, but you're off suing people. No matter what, we didn't see Miguel Cotto go and sue Antonio Margarito. We didn't see Oscar De La Hoya go sue Fernando Vargas or Shane Mosley, right? We didn't see that. Because if you really think about it, if you really want to be completely honest about it, it's some bitch shit. Point blank, period. You're not tough when you do that. You lose a lot of credibility for your toughness when you're going and suing people because they use some PEDs or whatever. They did whatever. They beat you up in the ring and you want to take legal action about it. It's not a good look. You know, and I understand he cheated. He did cheat. I'm not denying that. But going off and suing him just looks really weak. And I saw Bernie the Boxer go on Mill City Boxing today, and he talked a lot about this too. And I agree pretty much with almost everything that Bernie the Boxer said on Mill City Boxing. And it was pretty funny, honestly. But he's got a good point. Right? Devin Haney's trying to rebuild himself, and this little, stunt that he just pulled didn't do him any favors. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought about this whole, back and forth with, demanding, more drug testing, so on and so forth. Let me know what you guys thought. Hate, like, comment, subscribe.